Hey everybody, welcome back inside the DTECH Interview Studio presented by OATI in sunny San Diego, California, where we're wrapping up DTECH 2026, but not before I have a chance to catch up with a friend of mine, Luigi Montana from Envelio. Luigi, I really appreciate you taking some time out of the busy schedule here at the event to have a conversation about what you're working on. For the people that are watching that don't know exactly what it is that you do, tell us about Envelio and what it is that you're working on and how you're helping out our utility customers.
Yeah, Paul, thanks so much for having us again. It's always great to talk to you and always great to be here at DTECH. I think it's a unique event, like with the industry, talking to utilities, and to give you a bit of an idea, like also for the audience, what we as Envelio do. So we are a software technology company. We're 8 years old, and we built the Intelligent Grid Platform, which is a platform to digitize and automate and scale grid data management, grid planning processes, grid operation processes to kind of cope with the complexity that we're seeing right now in the system. And we've been fortunate enough to work now with more than 90 clients across Europe and the US. And I think our approach to our work with our clients is that we use technology to solve their challenges. So we really like to work closely with our clients to solve real problems that they have and use technology to really have an impact. And we've been really fortunate, again, like to do this now with 90 clients and more than 4,000 users across our platform.
You've got a really unique look under the hood at those utility clients. So you know what's on their mind and what they're all working on. In those conversations that you've been having with that growing customer base, what are utilities telling you? What are they focused on? And how have those focuses evolved over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I remember last year here at DTECH, I feel like every conversation kind of, let's say, gravitated towards interconnection and the queue, and kind of we have this load growth, we have data centers, the hyperscalers, we have distributed generation, and how can we kind of get this to the process and get this connected to the grid? And then this new load met the grid, and then we noticed, okay, this means we have to do huge investments, and there's like a massive requirements for the system to make this all work and keep the grid reliable. So we see how this kind of the conversation is shifting towards how can we make this affordable? How can we deal with flexibility? How can we invest in our aging asset infrastructure, all while still maintaining a reliable grid? So we see in conversations really focused on this now long-term approach and make this new load and generation on the system work.
One of your primary offerings, the backbone behind what Envelio does, is the Intelligent Grid Platform, or IGP. For those unfamiliar, can you tell us what IGP is, what it does?
Yeah, so the Intelligent Grid Platform is software technology that we built here at Envelio. And as I said before, kind of, let's say the exciting part is you can digitize and scale. You can make your grid data work for you. You can scale your grid planning processes, so interconnection, dynamic hosting capacities, flexibility assessments. You can automate your grid operations. But I think what makes the IGP really unique is the approach, how we designed it and how we said we need to build innovation and technology that is disruptive but still works for utilities and the way they operate. Because they operate the system, so they cannot risk to kind of have the trial and fail error that you might use with technology. So to make this work, we really focused on 3 things that we always saw when we talk to our customers. The first thing is data, because everything is downstream of data. So if your data doesn't work for you, you will not be able to deploy new technology. And it's the same story also with AI. So also AI needs the data to be trained in the models. So we built what we call the data shippers in the IGP. And the data shippers are a module that enables you to really make your data work for you right away, and don't wait for the perfect data quality, because this is something every one of our 90 customers told us in the beginning. We don't have the data quality, so we built a solution that can work for them. And the second thing I would say is, when you look at all of these flexibility that we need, all these new loads, you need loads, like millions of simulations. You need to see what is the impact of this stuff on my grid. And so we saw the kind of the traditional approach of running simulations, doing power flow calculations doesn't really work. So also there we took the hard way and say, we built our own power flow solvers to kind of be able to run an 8760, so kind of your annual simulation of your system in a right amount of time. And the last point about that is we saw the platform covers a wide range of use cases, so data, planning, operations, field services, but each utility is really unique. And also if you look at like the large IOUs, also if you look at smaller municipalities. So we built our platform in a way that is modular enough that can fit into each IT architecture, into each like grid processes, so that it can work from our largest customer having 5 million meters to our smallest one having 5,000 meters. And it's the same platform that works for everyone.
We all know DTECH season is also big announcement season for a lot of our exhibitors. You guys just made a big announcement, the Strategic Grid Planner. Tell us a bit about that and how it furthers Envelio's offerings.
Yeah, so Strategic Planner is a new application we just launched on the Intelligent Grid platform. We're really excited about that to bring this to DTECH and to get this in front of utilities. And we had great conversations in the last days. And it's just like Strategic Planner tackles the new complexity of system planning. So basically, system planning, you can break it down into three parts. You need to know, what will my load and generation look like in 10 years, in 15 years, even in 5 years, even next year with the current volatility you see in the market? The second one, what is the impact of this new load and generation on my system? So where do I have constraints? Where do I need maybe look at my assets and my linear assets, my feeders? And the third one is, how can I solve these constraints? So each of these pieces gets harder and harder right now, because there's like, on the one hand, there's so much more uncertainty. On the other hand, kind of solving it, like in the past, you just did like grid upgrades, and now you look at NWAs, so non-wires alternatives, you look at flexibility. So Strategic Planner allows you to run thousands of forecasts, kind of really test for each version of the future if you want, in a way. And then we built machine learning algorithms that can kind of optimize from this whole tool set of solutions, what is the best solution for you, that on the one hand ensures that you have a reliable system, and on the other hand ensures that you deploy your capital and do your investments in a way that, again, ensures reliability, but makes also the grid, keeps the grid and rates affordable.
These tools feel like they raise the bar for system planners in ways that would have been unimaginable maybe a decade ago. Do you think, from your seat, just looking at this holistically, if we zoom out a little bit, that this sort of forward-looking automated distribution system planning is going to become the baseline for utilities moving forward? Like, you have to do this starting here? And does that change the expectations for utilities moving forward?
Yeah, it definitely will. So if we look at kind of system planning, it's a process that involves a lot of stakeholders. So there's the utility obviously at the center of it, but there's also regulators, there's ratepayers. So we really believe that, again, in view of this uncertainty and volatility that we right now have, and kind of ratepayers being like thinking about affordability, that forward-looking and really dynamic and more transparent system planning really can be a tool to kind of bring these stakeholders together, and also enable other use cases, and make sure that we have the transparency to ensure that utilities have the investment capital and get the investments that they need to build a reliable grid. But on the other side, get the loads on the grid, keep the grid reliable, keep the grid affordable.
I'm sure you've had so many conversations out here at DTECH about the industry with your peers, with your competition. Can you share some of the developments you're keeping an eye on in this larger energy space?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great time for energy right now. Like, I'm really excited that we have this time in our industry. And I would say one thing is flexibility. So we've been talking about flexibility for a long time, but it really feels like it's starting to get out there in the field, it's starting to get real, but it also starts to enter the planning rooms, because ultimately planning is kind of the biggest lever. If you think about it, in the planning room, we decide about billions and even trillions of investments if you look at the latest number. So kind of, how can we use flexibility as a solution, and how can we deploy flexibility in the field to really make it work both for the customers, but also for the utility. So that's one thing. Obviously, nothing gets around AI. So I think also AI is still a big topic, and it will stay a big topic. And I feel like this year we will see that we will understand where AI really fits in well, what are like the best use cases right now in the short term to really make it work, and to really get the productivity and get like the make the technology work for you. So like, think this is a big thing. And the third thing, I think, digital twins. So digital twin, it's been a buzzword that has been out there for a long time, but at the base, at the fundamental, like, digital twin means you need your data to work for you. So we really see like utilities starting to think about, okay, how can we make our data work for us for different use cases, for planning, for our field services, for operations. So like, under this buzzword of digital twin, I think like thinking and acting on grid data management is something that we see many utilities thinking about right now.
I could talk to you all day about this stuff, but we've got to wrap it up. We got time for one more. Let's leave things on an up note with a piece of advice to the utility stakeholders or other clients watching right now that are caught in this equation that everyone's trying to get the perfect answer to between complexity and affordability. If you had some advice for your utility stakeholders that are trying to figure out that balance, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, I mean, it's a tough spot to be in. Right now, the utility, they're kind of going 100 miles an hour, and they're being asked, like, change the engine, but don't stop don't slow down, and
Yeah.
don't make it us feel bumpy. So I think it's a tough spot. So my advice would be embrace the complexity. So complexity is certainly a challenge, but complexity is also the solution for the affordability. So if you can find a way to make the complexity work for you, to find also like in this complexity, make the system work, I think embrace this complexity, find solutions, and obviously their technology is a big lever for that.
Luigi Montana from Envelio, I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Paul.